Welcome to Video Rental, your retro movie hub. Join us as we rewind through the iconic films of the 70s, 80s, and 90s gems, from cult classics to blockbuster hits and even some infamous flops. We're covering it all. So grab some popcorn, get cozy, and let's dive into the wonderful world of retro cinema together. Good morning, gentlemen. How we doing?
You want to go see a dead body?
Doug, how we doing?
I'm here.
Okay, that's all that matters. So on today's episode, we're going to be covering 1986's Stand By Me. Doug, let's start with you. When was the first time you think you saw the movie?
I'm pretty sure it was a TV edit first time I saw it.
Yeah.
Because I remember it never showed the body on TV.
Oh, I didn't. Unfortunately, I didn't have that. The body always freaked me out when I was a kid. I couldn't look at it.
All they would show was his feet when they walked up to him.
Yeah.
And then they would cut, show him staring at it.
Yeah, that was one thing. I do remember seeing the body, so I was just like, it always freaked me out. So I'd look away when I was little. I just couldn't do it because it just looked so real.
Mm-hmm.
I was 11 when it came out, so.
Yeah. Derrick, what about you? I know you said you.
So I
It's been a
don't
while.
really remember a distinct time or place sitting down and watching it. Obviously, I know I didn't see it in the theater.
Yeah.
And I don't ever remember renting it. I guess maybe it was one of those movies that maybe my older sister was watching at one time, and I asked, "What is that?" and probably sat in for about 30 minutes of it, and then. So, I would say that complete watch, beginning, middle, end, would have been this week.
Yeah.
So, but I remember seeing bits and pieces of the movie.
Yeah.
So I'm coming at this with
Fresh eyes.
zero nostalgia glasses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I know I probably saw it on.
Curious, man.
I know I probably saw it on TV or something, but I do definitely remember this. I remember this was like along the same lines. I know it's kind of like, I know it's not like Goonies, but it's like, it's a kids. Mm-hmm. It's about a bunch of kids.
Kids-driven adventure.
And that was a huge theme in the 80s.
Yeah.
Because, E.T. is all about a group of kids. Goonies is about a group of kids. This is.
Yeah.
And so many others. The Explorers.
Yeah.
So many movie genres that time were based on kid adventures.
Kids going outside and
Imagination.
imagination. Yeah.
Insert magical rainbow.
Well, I mean, my plan is this is going to be the first of our, what do you call it, quadrilogy? Is that the right word? 4 movies. We're going to try to do some kids, about the rest of some more kids movies.
Nice.
So this is going to be the first of the one. So I'm going to read the plot of the movie. It's actually a very simple plot. A writer recounts a childhood journey with his friends to find the body of a missing boy.
There you go.
Pretty simple.
And how young did he look in it? I was shocked when they first showed him.
Who?
Richard Dreyfuss.
Oh, well, I mean, this was way after Jaws. I mean, this was like 10 years, almost 10 years
Yeah,
after
but he
Jaws.
just clean shaven.
Yeah.
It just.
Yeah.
Well, you don't really see him until the end of the movie, right?
Well, you see him at the beginning there. Just
beginning.
like, it's quick, and then he instantly starts thinking
Because
back.
he's got that paper where.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Derrick, you want to read us some vitals on the movie?
So the movie was released August 22nd, 1986.
I was not born yet. A month later.
There you go. I was but a wee lad. IMDb gives it a score of 8.1 with a tomato meter, critic score 88%, audience score 94%. So you see a pretty close agreement there.
Yeah.
Budget, a paltry $8 million.
And that's probably just the actors' salaries and stuff.
Yeah. It doesn't really have a lot of special effects.
No.
With the kids, there's really no big names at the the time you have to pay.
Well, they had to buy all that peroxide for Kiefer Sutherland's hair, so
Yeah.
Because this was before he did Lost Boys, wasn't it? Because Lost Boys was like 87 or 88 or something.
yeah.
So I don't think he'd become really a name yet. Richard Dreyfuss was probably the biggest name in this movie.
Mm-hmm. Not really a lot of huge sets needed.
No.
I mean,
No.
just walk in the countryside.
the outside.
Yeah.
Maybe the small town. I don't know if they built a town for the movie or if they just found one.
It's probably one up in New England because I feel like that's where they mostly film Stephen King's stories.
Yeah.
Is up in New England.
Continuing on, the box office came in at over 53 million. So that's a pretty
They did okay.
good payday. Runtime, a brisk 1 hour and 29 minutes. Did you guys feel like the movie went by pretty quick?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it felt like a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And of course, that R rating, probably for the profanity. That's why I would say it got the R rating. And maybe that dead body at the end,
Yeah.
even though it wasn't like gratuitous.
No, just like I said, it just kind of, I don't know, just the dead stare of the kid, and just like when I was a kid, it really freaked me out. So I could not watch that scene. I had to just look away every time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I was under 10 when I saw it, so I had to look away.
The tagline of the movie, for some, it's the last real taste of innocence and the real first taste of life. But for everyone, it's that time that memories are made of. Oh, so heartwarming.
Hallmark card.
Of course, the cast now, if you look back, is pretty amazing, especially when you realize where these people went in their careers. The leading character is Will Wheaton. And if you're a Star Trek fan, of course, especially Next Generation, you
Preston.
know Wesley Crusher.
Yep.
But he was also in The Last Starfighter, Toy Soldiers, Flubber, and he's credited with over 150 voiceover credits. So, as we get into the cast, I'll just say that I felt like the acting was pretty amazing, especially for all these childhood actors.
Yeah, for kids. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a movie that has kids in it, but it's not made for kids.
No.
No.
Not
Right.
at all.
And so, if you go into it thinking like, well, gosh, the cast is all, 16 and under, this isn't a movie for me. Well, you're pretty much pulled in the first 5 minutes because their acting is just so on point.
Give it a chance. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is definitely not Goonies.
No,
So
no, not at all. And then, of course, the big appearance in the movie is River Phoenix, who we all, of course, know died tragically at age 23. But he was also in The Explorers and Indiana Jones: The Last Crusade. In that, he plays young Indy in the train scene in the prologue of the movie.
I would have loved to seen like
yeah.
him as young Indiana Jones.
Oh, yeah. That would have been amazing.
I think
Didn't they say that character died at 23?
No, because I think it
When
was
he broke up the fight.
I think he was 28.
Was it 28? I don't know.
Something like
It's
that.
like, that
Yeah.
would've been-
Yeah.
That would have been weird.
That sort of makes I don't know,
because I think
it's almost like a prophecy at the end.
yeah.
because I think Richard
he
Dreyfuss
might-
said he hadn't seen him in like 10 years, and
Yeah.
they were probably already close to being 30.
Okay.
When he was an adult. So
And then, of course, we cannot forget Corey Feldman, who has a major role in the 4 boys that feature in the movie. Corey Feldman from The Fox and the Hound, Friday the 13th, the final chapter.
which is the 4th one.
Gremlins, Goonies, Lost Boys, License to Drive, Burbs, and TMNT.
He had a really amazing career for such a young kid, but then now he's just a weirdo. He's
That tends to happen with most child stars.
actors,
Yeah.
I mean, he's come out with, talking about all this things that happened to the kids back in the day and stuff, but he just now.
Well, I think if you read about his life, he had a very troubled
Yeah.
family, kind of like Macaulay Culkin.
Yeah.
A lot of abuse there
Yeah.
and other things happening in the family that no doubt scarred him. That's why. Plus, when you add stardom on top of that,
and he
was a
was
recipe
huge.
to be a disaster.
I'd say Corey Feldman. Well, I mean, I think he was bigger than Macaulay Culkin. Like,
Oh, yeah.
stardom. I mean, he was in everything. He was the
Well,
80s.
that was definitely an era.
Yeah. I mean, clearly right there, all those movies just in the 80s alone. I mean,
Yeah. The child star is a thing of the 80s and the 90s, maybe early 2000s. I don't think you're not going to have that in the same way today, except maybe like YouTube.
Yeah.
You might have like a kid
And being
channel
an
or something.
influencer then.
Yeah. Anyway, also in the movie, we're talking about Jerry O'Connell. He's from starring in Joe's Apartment, Jerry Maguire, Scream 2, and Sliders. We all get to meet Kiefer Sutherland in the movie as sort of the older brother / bully. Lost Boys, Young Guns, Flatliners, Few Good Men, Time to Kill, Phone Booth, 24.
Yep.
Pretty good resume there.
Oh, yeah.
Richard Dreyfuss, he's the adult version of Will Wheaton's character in the movie, and he's also the narrator, the writer, and of course we know him from Jaws and American Graffiti, Close Encounters. Who could forget What About Bob? So
We might have to do What About Bob? It'll be, just one of those I think we'll just be quoting the whole time, but I think it'll be really funny to do.
Which one was Jerry O'Connell?
What they called the fat kid.
Was Vernon?
Vern.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was the big thing is like nobody recognizes him from when he was a kid to when he went to Sliders or whatever. Yeah. Yeah. Did you guys remember Sliders, right?
Yeah, it's those little mini hamburgers. That
No, it's the one where they he figured out a time, or not a time portal, but a portal to other realities, and he got him and like two of his friends, and then like a scientist. They get stuck by going. They're trying to get home. It
I hadn't seen that.
It ran for like 3 or 4 seasons, but it
was like a copy of what was the one?
Quantum Leap.
Yes.
No, I wouldn't say it was calling because they're not going through time. Like literally, they're going to each reality. Like they have like a little device that opens up a portal. It's like a time device, and
It's a lot like Quantum Leap.
no, not at all. Because he's jumping through people's bodies in different times.
Yeah, instead of time, it's
So it's not like Quantum Leap at all.
but same premise.
No, not at all.
Don't make him push the button.
I'll do it. But they would go into a different reality and they would meet themselves, like in different versions of themselves. It was good for like 2 or 3 seasons, but then the 4th season was really bad and got canceled. It was one of those Sci-Fi Channel movies or shows back in the day.
Let's talk about cameos. Did y'all see John Cusack? Mm-hmm. He plays the older brother.
The brother,
that
the older
dies.
brother gets killed.
Yeah, that Will Wheaton's character sort of is living in the shadow of the older brother.
Yeah.
So I spotted that pretty quickly. Marshall Bell also makes a cameo. I'm trying to figure out who he is.
He's the dad.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And remember, he was like in Twins, and he played the bad guy in Twins. I mean, he's one of those B movie characters that's in everything.
Also making an appearance, Frances Lee McCain. Y'all gonna have to help me with that one. I don't even recognize that
The
name.
mom, his mom in
Oh,
this.
okay.
She was in Gremlins, Back to the Future.
Back to the Future.
She was the grandmother.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
She looks different in this because her hair is
yeah.
a different color, but she was another mom. She was in Footloose. She was the mom in Footloose. But yeah, she's just another one that played a lot of moms back in the 80s.
Screenplay was developed by Reynold Gideon, Bruce A. Evans, and Stephen King. So let's talk about that for just a minute. For those of you that don't know, this movie was first a book by Stephen King called The Body.
It was one of his like short stories that he had like in a collection of a book.
And so I'm sure they had to make a few changes to get it adapted to screen. But it's really amazing when you go back and you think about all of the Stephen King material that's been turned into either TV specials or movies. And so we were just talking about before the recording today about The Walk, which is another Stephen King.
It was another
that was turned into a movie
It was
recently.
another one of his short stories that he was under the is the word pseudonym? Is that the right word?
Yeah.
Of Richard Bachman. Mm-hmm. It was one of his short stories. Like The Running Man, that was another one of his short stories in that.
Yeah. Which, by the way, we've done a review of that. If you haven't checked that out, you can go listen to it. And we've also done a review of The Shining, another Stephen King property. Mm-hmm. So you can go check that out as well. So not intentional, but it just shows you how wide his tentacles spread out into the entertainment world.
A lot of product out there.
Yeah.
I mean, two of his best stories ever, are two of my favorite movies, Green Mile and Shawshank Redemption. I mean,
right, and we've done Shawshank Redemption too. Yeah.
Well, we're going to eventually try to do that on here because we did that on our old podcast. So I'd like to do it on here to really, what do you call it? Fish it out. I don't know, but
so. Produced by Reynold Gideon and Bruce A. Evans. The music, Jack Nietzsche, who was known for One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, Officer Gentleman, and Starman.
We're gonna have to do One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest one day. That's on the list eventually to do. I'd like to do it.
Chief,
I've never seen it.
you never seen it?
Never seen it.
Well, I ain't either.
It's
Did you watch Starman?
certainly a downer.
Long time ago.
Did you watch Starman?
No, never seen it. Never heard of her.
Is that the one with
So, filming locations. As you can tell, the movie is a lot of it take place outside, and I think the book seems like I saw a little clip about it being set in the Northeast, like Maine,
Castle Rock?
Yeah, Castle Rock. But I think in the movie they set it in the Pacific North.
You know what? I don't.
West, like
Yeah, I don't remember.
that's why they shot it in Oregon.
Well, because I know
California.
the story takes place in Castle Rock, and that's one of Stephen King's cities in his towns in his books.
Yeah.
It's Castle Rock and what's the one in it? Derry. Castle Rock and Derry are his two cities that he uses throughout his entire
Universe.
universe. Yeah, it literally is a universe. That's what's so
The
crazy about it.
SKU.
Yeah, I mean seriously,
Stephen King universe.
it's crazy.
All right, so production company was Columbia, and it was directed by Rob Reiner, R.I.P., who tragically left us earlier this year with that murder that happened.
That was actually back in December. I feel
Oh,
like
it was last year. Yeah.
I feel like it was this year. That actually blew me away because him and his
Columbia,
wife
I think
were.
I owe them 98 cents.
Hmm?
You don't remember that? You send them 98 cents. They send you 10 cassettes.
Oh, yeah.
What you just said
You don't remember
is one of
that?
the most insanely
you
idiotic
remember
things
that?
I have ever
I remember it.
I do remember.
Everyone
Okay,
in
then
this room
shut up.
is now dumber for having listened to
Well,
it.
where did that come from?
He just said Columbia, idiot.
The production company, Columbia Pictures.
You never heard of Columbia Pictures?
You're
Go
the-
ahead, Derrick.
Different Columbia.
You're the idiot in this.
We're talking about the Columbia Ponzi scheme, buy the our cassette tapes and CD
Yeah.
plan. Anyway, the movie was directed by Rob Reiner. And of course, man, what a resume. This is Spinal Tap, which was These Amps Go to 11. So quotable. One of the greatest mockumentaries ever. Princess Bride. Have we done that one yet? We need to.
It's on the list.
It's a classic.
Moron hadn't seen it.
I haven't seen
When
it.
Harry Met Sally. You know, the rom-com is not really my thing, but it's been, I don't even think I've seen that.
If I have, it was
Yeah.
a TV edit and
Misery.
30 years ago. Love Misery.
Yeah, another Stephen King property. Few Good Men. Been a while since I've seen that one. Spinal Tap 2, which they recently come out with, and I haven't seen. So
Yeah.
Rob Reiner was, I mean, he went on a string of just one hit after another there in the 80s. He could do no wrong.
Well, and he was also an actor too. I mean, I didn't write his resume for being an actor, but he was in Family Ties. Was it not Family Ties? I don't know. I can't think of it.
So when you add this movie to the resume, I mean that's pretty monumental. A lot of people consider Stand By Me to be their favorite or maybe the best Rob Reiner out of all of them.
Yeah.
You're either that or you're either Princess Bride. Me, I'm kind of the oddball. I would say Spinal Tap is my favorite Rob Reiner because you've never seen Spinal Tap? I saw Spinal Tap just at the right time, like I was in my early 20s, and it just hit for me. And me and my buddies used to quote that movie all the time.
He was in all in the Family.
There you go.
He was the son. Doug, you remember that? You were alive then.
Doug is just meditatively sipping his coffee, still trying to wake up his brain. Anyway, let's move on and talk about some hidden gems related to the movie. When they are filming the scene where Gordy and Vern are about to be run over by the train, Will Wheaton and Jerry O'Connell did not look scared enough. So in frustration, director Rob Reiner yelled at them to the point they started crying, and that's when they were able to film the scene. In the movie, only Vern is crying and Gordy is scared. Of course, that's probably one of the most iconic scenes out of the movie. The train chase. So
that bridge is still there today. They don't use it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It's still there today, and you can go and visit.
I love how when they get to the bridge, they even say, "What if a train comes?"
Yeah.
Oh, we got plenty of. We can jump. They say something like that. Rob Reiner agonized over the pie eating scene because he was having trouble trying to envision what kind of writer Gordy would become and how that would play out as a 12-year-old. Ultimately in mind, he became Stephen King, Reiner said. And Stephen King is a great storyteller, and most of the stories he tells are supernatural or there's horror involved. He decided to go over the top with it and make it rather cartoonish, the way it would appear in a young boy's mind. Yeah, and as you watch that scene, it's almost like you're watching something out of the Little Rascals or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. According to Reiner, the audience went crazy for it, justifying his decision to leave it in. So
That's cool.
I know we're probably going to get to, Doug, you're going to read some of the reviews, but I'll just go ahead and throw this out there. I was reading some of the criticisms of the movie, and people criticize it for being quote-unquote fat phobic because of that scene.
Oh my god.
Which wasn't even a word like 3 years ago, but it is now.
Fat phobic.
Yeah. Which also points to the fact that this movie would not be made today.
No.
Not in the way that it was made back in
think it would be
1986.
trimmed.
Could you imagine the
They,
protests they would have just because the kids were smoking?
yeah.
I think they would cut that out.
Oh yeah,
They-
definitely.
they'd probably
I mean,
give
they'll
them all
put like a
vape.
disclaimer on a movie or TV show if it's got smoking in it today.
They'd give them vapes nowadays.
Yeah.
Here, take this.
Anyways, Sean Astin said he auditioned for the role of Chris right after River Phoenix had done his audition. Could you see Sean Astin in that role? I could. I could picture Sean Astin playing that.
Yeah.
I don't think I could have seen him. It's not that I want to see like the cursing or anything, but I don't think I could see him like cursing as much as they do in this movie, especially after seeing him in like Goonies and all that stuff. But I'm not saying he would have done a bad job.
Samwise Gamgee.
Yeah.
Dropping the F-bomb. That is hard to imagine, though.
Yeah.
Well, when Sean Astin walked into the room, he said he knew he had no chance because he saw the filmmakers were choking up, holding back tears, meaning that River Phoenix had just nailed his audition. Sean Astin said he was equally impressed with River Phoenix's performance when he saw the film and agreed that Phoenix was the right actor for the part.
Yeah.
I mean, I could see Sean Astin in the role, I guess, but like you said, you know, this is what put River Phoenix on the map.
maybe more as Jerry O'Connell's character, I feel like.
Yeah.
But River Phoenix, he's one of those actors that we, of course, lost way too soon. I think you never know. He could have been an Oscar winner today or something. I mean, I just feel like we lost him.
So
way too
for the audience out there, what was his cause of death?
It was definitely
Drug
drugs.
overdose.
I
Drug
think
overdose.
Drug
Yeah.
overdose. I think he was at like a nightclub and like what was it? What's his Joaquin Phoenix was there. I'm trying to remember who else was there, but there was a bunch of younger actors today there. And yeah, they said he literally died like right on the street or something like that.
Actor River Phoenix died on October 31st, 1993, Halloween.
Yeah.
At the age of 23 from acute multiple drug intoxication, cocaine and heroin.
Yeah.
It's a deadly combination.
Multiple.
He was at the Viper Room in West Hollywood. He suffered seizures on the sidewalk after visiting the club, and despite attempts at resuscitation by his siblings and girlfriend, he was declared dead at 1:51 a.m.
I think Christian Bale was there too. I think Christian Bale was the first.
Phoenix was with his siblings, Joaquin and Rain, girlfriend Samantha Mathis. So,
Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah.
Pretty tragic. Don't do drugs, kids.
Unfortunately, I feel like that's how we lose a lot of the great actors.
Heath Ledger,
Chris
Chris
Farley.
Farley.
John Belushi. I mean,
You could put Robin Williams in that category, even though I
Yeah.
don't think his was OD
yeah.
in the same way.
No,
but
but he, from what I found out, didn't he have like?
He was bipolar.
Well, no, I think that he just found out he was. He just found out he got some kind of disease, and it was going to affect his mind or something like that, and so that's what. Because apparently maybe he was. I don't know.
Anyway.
Yeah, I
Gotta
can't.
hold
rabbit
up to
trail.
that persona.
Yeah.
Doug, I think it's your turn, isn't it, bro?
Doug, thanks, Derrick.
You awake yet?
Good just gonna have.
I made it nice and made the print nice.
Man,
and
that's
large
some big
for you.
font right there. That's like 48-point font.
I remember my glasses.
Well, I
You won't
did it
need your bifocals today.
just in case.
Let's see. Wow, these are like a lot later. Decades later, you got some new ones.
Well, nobody wrote. There was no internet back in the '90s or anything. So I think I found like one review from like 1999. That was probably the start of IMDb or whatever. 1999.
Let's see what this first one is. 4 out of 10. Not as good as I expected. February 14th, Valentine's Day. Probably didn't get no candy. That's what's wrong.
Oh, I didn't even put that together. That was Valentine's Day.
This movie is a retelling of a novel by my favorite author and one of my favorite stories ever. So, anxiously, I picked up this movie and hated it.
When I found this, I knew one of you guys would do that. I laughed when I saw he put hated it, and that's exactly what I thought of.
Oh, I've seen bad movies before, and this was not the worst, but it wasn't a movie I'd come back to. After seeing The Shawshank Redemption, another King novel in the same book, I expected more great things. Alas. I'd like to finish this by saying that the acting was not bad, but is mostly just the director. Uncanny ability to draw out the best. So I pray that the people who like this see Shawshank Redemption and then watch it, see the difference. How could you compare those two?
Can't.
Yeah, I think that's too low of a score.
Yeah.
It's not that's not a good review.
This next one, 8 out of 10, a taste of a classic. Anthony Dappy, May 9th, 2020. Wow. You know what was going on during then. He was just sitting in front of his computer. My father always loved this movie and told me to watch it because it was so good. I remember watching it and loving it. The aspect of I wonder if he meant to say 3, of the free boys going out on their own to find the truth of a scene for their own pleasure. I loved it as how it's told from a narrative of looking backwards as to give it a feel of a one-time summer excursion that the boys had. I resonate because I was those boys with my friends and I was once younger. Great film and young cast. There should have been some
Punctuation.
spell check or something.
Yeah, I don't. Like I said, I don't change anything of these reviews.
Let's see. This one, 1 out of 10. Very disappointing for a best 182 film. Just in case. February 14th, Valentine's Day. What's going on with all these Valentine's Day?
Of all movies, you watch this on Valentine's Day.
I cannot believe this film is so highly rated. A terrific disappointment. It is impossible and unrealistic. What was unreal about it?
This might be the probably one of the most realistic movies we've done on this.
But not represented as fantasy. You think it's fantasy because kids are going outside and playing. The dialogue for the 12-year-old is corny and stupid at times. Did you not have friends this age?
Probably not. No.
Or else ridiculously adult and philosophical. It is for the most part poorly acted, predictable, badly directed. Kids in Oregon in the 50s don't behave like New York hoodlums. Excuse me. New York hoodlums. The cheesy ending, telling what happened to his friends was a cop-out, and there was no resolution for the threat from the Cobra's leader. There was also no resolution of Gordy's problems with his father or dead brother either. Altogether boring and a waste of time. What?
So they won't be rewatching it anymore.
No. Let's see. This one's a 10 out of 10. Rob Reiner's best film. Fleety Banton, December 21st, 2025. With the recent sad news of Rob Reiner's passing, I felt compelled to weigh in on this classic. It's always been one of my favorite films of all time. People talk about Spinal Tap and others, but this one has always spoken to me in a deep way. There's something about the way it's filmed along with the story and performances. I didn't grow up during this time, but the bond between the friends is so relatable it feels like I could have. It's so crazy how many Stephen King stories get adapted to movies. This is one of his best. But Rob Reiner's direction and pristine storytelling ability are front and center in Stand By Me. Also, Reiner's commentary on the Blu-ray is very interesting. R.I.P.
So, Doug, this I know you're about to read a Roger Ebert review. So he didn't actually do a normal review like he normally would. This was actually on their Siskel and Ebert TV show, like where they were sitting in their, the little theater. Yeah. This was kind of just Cliff Notes of what it was.
What was the name of that show?
Was it just called Siskel and Ebert?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Let's see. Roger Ebert. He called Stand By Me a tender, compassionate, beautifully performed coming-of-age film. A quiet, lyrical odyssey about childhood friendship. Directed with nuance by Rob Reiner, he and Gene Siskel gave it a positive review, praising its emotional honesty, nostalgic power, and sweet and strong portrayal of the boys facing life's complexities.
Sweet.
Ebert singled out Will Wheaton and River Phoenix's performances as a cornerstone of the film, later citing Stand By Me when he called Rob Reiner a gifted filmmaker.
Yeah, I think they just literally said it was a good movie. So...
No stars.
No stars.
No, because I think, didn't they just say good or bad? I think that's what they pretty much did on their show. They just, or like thumbs. Didn't they used to do thumbs up or something like that?
Yeah.
Thank you, Doug, for letting the people know what other people think about this movie.
The peoples, because we care.
All right, you guys ready to jump into our scene by scene?
Let's break it down.
All right.
59.
Scene 1. It's the summer of 1959 in Castle Rock, Oregon, and 4 12-year-old boys, Gordy, Chris, Teddy, and Vern, are best friends. After learning of the general location of the body of a local boy who has been missing for several days, they set off into the woods to see it. So pretty much, I feel like the story just jumps right into them learning and then get going.
This movie's got a really gripping opening line. He says something to the effect of, I was 12 going on 13 when I saw my first dead human being.
Yeah.
Which is not the way you think a quote-unquote kids movie is going to start. Again, that's what's misleading about this movie is you see the kids starring, but again, this is not a movie for kids. It stars kids, but the content is very mature.
Oh yeah,
it's a movie for adults.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it starts out with Gordy learning. Gordy's Will Wheaton, right? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Gordy learning as an adult that Chris just got killed in he was trying to break up a fight, and they stabbed him to death.
Right.
And he's really upset, but he's thinking because I haven't seen Chris in 10 years, so that's when he starts thinking back.
Yeah. So, would you guys consider this movie a period piece? Because it's set in 1959.
Yeah.
And you're shown the town, and it's definitely set in that era before the 60s, where America goes crazy with civil rights movement, and the hippie movement, and drugs and sex, rock and roll. So it's like in that sort of golden era, innocence, yeah. Before America itself loses its innocence.
Yeah.
I would consider it almost a period piece.
Yeah, you could say that.
Made in the 80s, about the 60s.
Yeah.
Kind of by the way that Back to the Future made in the 80s about the 50s.
Right. Yeah.
So if it's crazy to think if this movie were made today, it would be made about the 90s,
2000s
or something like that.
Yeah.
I would consider it definitely a period piece.
Yeah.
And I think that plays huge into the storytelling. And maybe one reason why modern people might have difficulty getting into it is that this is an area where children were pretty much feral. Mm-hmm. No internet, no daycare, no video games or endless entertainment. Kids were basically left to their own devices to go out and have fun.
They had a treehouse.
Yeah.
I mean, that was always. I always would have loved to have a treehouse just like that when I was a kid.
So I think maybe some of those reviews, maybe that's part of it. If you're a modern person today, if you're like a Gen Z and you're watching this, it's hard for you to relate to this because there's no technology, and this is the way kids were. I'm not saying that everything about this movie was a accurate portrayal of kids. I definitely have my contention on that. Mm-hmm. But in terms of the kids being left alone to go out and just live their life all day long with no adult supervision, that was a lot of my childhood.
Yeah.
Just
definitely mine.
Go out and play. Don't come back unless you're broken or dying.
And they didn't nobody come to hunt you down.
No.
Because they knew, what did they say? When
no phones.
When you got hungry, you'd come home.
Yeah. There were vast portions of the day where I would be out playing, and my parents didn't know where I was. I mean, they had a general idea.
Yeah.
But
you could be miles away.
Yeah.
And usually was.
Yeah.
Well, and you also got to think, most of the people that probably saw this movie back in 1986, this was them.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's why they related to it.
All these probably 30 or 40-year-olds or even 50-year-olds watching this movie were their age back in 1959.
Mm-hmm. I can definitely see how people would be smitten by the nostalgia drug seeing this.
Oh, yeah.
Just as if somebody made a movie about the late 80s, early 90s, I too would be like, oh, yeah. I'd be so into it.
Well, and I feel like, fortunately, I wasn't like a lot of these kids, but I feel like every one of these kids somebody can relate to. we've all had somebody die in our family. We've all had, unfortunately, we've all had parents that are abusive to kids. You know, we've known kids that are like that, or we've had some. You know, it's just, I feel like every kid in this you can relate. Somebody can relate to.
So, like, if you go through the cast, you look at Gordy, whose family is still reeling from the death of the brother.
Yeah, it's only been 4 months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so he's not your typical kid. He's smart, a good writer. He's not athletic. He sort of is living in the shadow of his older brother.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, his dad
dad
wants him to be a football player.
Yeah, his
much.
dad doesn't really affirm him or encourage him. So he's got that inferiority complex already. Then you've got Chris's character, who also comes from kind of a bad home. And you see him immediately. What's the first thing he's doing? Smoking.
Yeah.
So,
Got the pack of cigarettes rolled up in his sleeve.
yeah, he's kind of like the bad boy
Yeah,
of the
the
group. And then you've got Teddy, which is Corey Feldman's character. And, of course, you know, his dad is locked up in the mental institution.
So he's the wild one of the
Yeah, he's like the class clown of the group.
Yeah.
Because he got abused by his dad.
Yeah.
He
Burned his ear.
and yeah.
And then you've got Vern, who's the fat kid, the one that
He's probably the
Husky.
most innocent one of the
Husky.
yeah,
He's husky.
husky. Okay, husky.
That's husky.
So you can see that foursome and see maybe your own friend group as a kid represented there. We, like you said, we all knew kids who come from bad homes, or maybe the kids that were a little eccentric or didn't fit the mold.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think they nailed it in terms of getting that dynamic right.
Right.
And this is a small town anyway, so who else is going to be your friend?
Well,
Yeah.
and there was nothing to do, so literally the kids were just trying to go on adventures all the time. So as soon as they find out that what is it? Is it Vern finds out there's a dead body? They're like, let's go find it. Let's go see it. Let's go see it. Do you think your parents would be okay for us to?
You say you're
Camp
staying
out.
at yours house?
Yeah. Yes. Go out and stay a night, or go camping or whatever. And yeah, they immediately.
So I'll say that was definitely a relatable thing for me because some of the kids that I grew up with, we camped out a lot.
Yeah.
We would get a tent, sleeping bag, and just go to somebody's house and camp out overnight.
Even if it was by accident, last minute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was definitely a thing, and you were given a little sense of freedom there. Like, your parents weren't going to come out and check on you. Like,
Yeah.
you could have a fire, you could get into trouble, you could do all these things.
Well, even like Chris asked Gordy, "You think your parents would be okay, staying overnight, camping overnight?" And he's like, "Yeah, they'd be fine."
Yeah.
So yeah, a lot of freedom back then.
Yeah, so the movie quickly jumps off into this journey where they just start walking. So they leave the town and, they're walking along the railroad tracks to get to where they've heard this body is, which is a good day and a half walk away or so. So a lot of the movie it's like a buddy film in the sense, that there's a journey to go on. But obviously they're not driving; they're walking.
Well, and I feel like it starts out pretty innocent, somewhat innocent at first, and then they've got their packs and everything, they're gonna start going. They run into Ace, like as they're walking on the street, and he takes Gordy's hat. That was his brother's New York Yankees cap.
Yeah, so that's Kiefer Sutherland's character.
Wasn't that Chris's brother?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you got Kiefer Sutherland. He's
No, it
running
was
with
Vern's
that crowd, and then you got
Was it
Vern's
Vern's brother?
brother,
Yeah.
who's kind of tagging along with him to impress him.
And you could see he's definitely the bully
Yeah.
of the town that apparently is literally willing to kill somebody. It seems like, because later on when he pulls that, I mean, right at the end, not to
So
jump to the end.
Kiefer Sutherland's character Ace reminded me a lot of the bully in Donnie Darko. By Seth Rogen plays that character.
Okay,
Remember
yeah.
where he
Yeah.
pulls a knife on Donnie Darko in the bathroom?
Yeah.
Yeah.
At the school. I don't know why. Just that he had that mullet, and Donnie Darko,
Yeah.
and I don't, and then the knife scene, it just sort of reminds
Well, I
me
guess
so
because
much of.
Kiefer Sutherland had the mullet in Lost Boys.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, he's got that.
Yeah.
So, well, you could almost compare him to Biff for the most part. I mean, I know we did Back to the Future, but I mean, Biff's literally willing to run over Marty just
Yeah.
because he punched him.
Yeah.
He's willing to kill him. Mm-hmm. So,
And there's a definite tension between the Cobra group, the older teens
yeah,
who were driving and getting tattoos and drinking,
yeah,
versus this foursome here who can't drive yet, and they're just picked on a lot by the older brothers, older crew, and so that's a fun dynamic to play with.
Yeah, like that whole group of bullies, they're all older brothers to all the other boys.
Yeah.
So it's like,
yeah. So pretty much, and the one scene I really thought was pretty funny. Chris, when they get going, Chris brings I think it's his dad's gun.
oh yeah,
Oh yeah, that's a great scene.
They're in that back
I don't
alley.
think it's loaded.
Yeah, and Gordy winds up shooting it by accident, and he gets so mad at Chris, and he's like, "I promise you, I didn't know it was loaded. I promise you, pinky swear." And I thought that was a great scene that scared the crap out of him.
Yeah.
it showed like the power of
What kind of gun was that?
promises. It was a
It's like a 1911.
yeah, it was a
Colt or
1911 old Colt 45.
Yeah,
Looked like a service revolver.
and it's honestly it
I mean,
probably
a
was.
service gun.
I mean, what World War II was just 15 years or 14 years before this,
something. Yeah.
so it probably was a service
Another
gun.
thing that's really interesting about these characters is at least two of them are pining for their dad's affection,
Yeah,
and they're not getting it. Gordy is definitely hampered by that, and then
I think the only one they don't mention is Vern.
yeah.
Vern, I don't think they mention anything about his parents.
But Corey
at all.
Feldman's character
But
is
yeah,
his dad is a hero in his eyes.
yeah.
You know, even though his dad was terrible to him.
I'm
My
wondering-
dad stormed the beaches of Normandy.
Yeah.
Teddy, yeah.
Yeah. He looks up and also fears his dad, and then later on when they run into the junkyard kingpin.
Looney.
Yeah.
That junkyard guy,
He,
yeah.
he makes fun of his dad, and you see how much that hurts him.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting dynamic when you think about these boys, is that some of them may have a father in their life, but their father is failing, or their dad isn't involved at all, and they're searching for that male affirmation, and so they're not getting it there. Well, they're getting it from their friends. They're looking for that love and that
Yeah.
approval and validation.
Because I feel like I feel like every single of the like say three dads they mention, every single one of them I guarantee you were in World War II.
Mm-hmm.
So they're all veterans, and they probably, it seems like Gordy's dad was probably the most put together, I guess is the right word. Mm-hmm. I mean, he was still seemed like he was a little
Overbearing.
overbearing, but then like it seems like they just got worse with each kid. They probably, some of them became alcoholics after the war and all that stuff, and they unfortunately
PTSD wasn't really addressed back then the way it
Yeah.
is now.
I mean, and unfortunately Teddy became the blunt. What do you call it? He got the most of it out of the dad.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, a lot of abuse there.
So let's talk about that quest, because the whole point of the movie is them going to find the dead body.
Yeah. So this.
So
boy
think
was-
about yourself when you were 12.
the boy's been missing for like 2 weeks or something.
When you were 12 or 13, when was the first time you saw somebody dead? Can you think back about that? Because I can remember as a kid,
I was under.
there was a gruesome fascination with, like you can remember. I can remember going to my grandmother's funeral. That was the first person that died that was close to me, that had an impact on me, and seeing her. It was an open casket.
Yeah.
And as 7 years old, that's a stunning thing for you, because it's the first slap of reality in your face that death is real.
Yeah.
And it comes for the ones that you love. And so we talk about this being a profound coming of age or a loss of innocence movie. And seeing the dead body is definitely a thing that marks your childhood for the first time, especially if it's somebody you love. And what's even more crazy about this one is this isn't in a funeral home, so the body's not cleaned up.
No. And it's a
Anything
kid their
like
age.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you hear about that quest and you're thinking like, well, that's so bizarre, like kids going to see a dead body. But you got to realize like
Curiosity.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like I said, this was still in the innocent days.
Mm-hmm.
So this was kind of unheard of to go see, that.
This is the Stephen King twist on the
Yeah.
story. This is, he oftentimes writes about fear or horror as being a prominent theme. So this is a way that you deal with it in a kid way.
Well, because they also mentioned like, yes, let's go see the dead body, but then also we could become heroes for finding the kid because the kid's been missing forever.
All these people have been looking for him.
Yeah, and so they're like, we could get awards, we could be in the newspaper.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's kind of how they, I think that's how they convince Vern, because Vern's like, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And then like, well, you could get an award, you could be in the paper. And he's like, okay, let's do it.
Well, when that didn't work, they shamed him till he did it. So
yeah, that's true. You guys want to move on to scene 2?
Yeah.
All right. So this kind of goes in what you were talking about with the junkyard. So the boys reach a junkyard. Gordy buys food at the general store, thinking of his brother. They continue on the track. Gordy rejects his riding career, but Chris tries to persuade him. A train approaches, forcing them to run. Gordy and Vern jump off, narrowly escaping the train. So, Derek, what you were talking about with the junkyard scene, so, eventually they make their way to this junkyard.
What is it about movies like this, kid adventure movies and junkyards? Because the same thing in The Sandlot.
Yeah.
I was thinking about that as I was watching it because
It's just an unknown area.
it's an unknown. It's fear.
Yeah.
Man, we've all heard rumors about this junkyard dog and the guy that keeps it like he is an axe murderer or he's got some crazy thing about his past.
Yeah.
They do the same thing in Home Alone with the old man Marley.
Yeah.
That he's a serial killer.
Yeah.
So I love that they have that here, and it plays into that.
Well,
rumors have been swirling, and it blows up in their mind.
about
Kids hear rumors.
dog.
Yeah, imagination, and they just they keep on building it up as it keeps on spreading to everybody. And
Well, the fascination of a junkyard is very real. It was for me when I was a kid. I mean, just when you would always run across an old car you didn't know was in the woods, or and that would be like the greatest thing ever. You'd climb all through it and imagine you're driving it, and
oh yeah,
Create stories of how it got there.
like, oh, you're the driver, so you'd hang yourself out the window like,
well, we know what Doug was doing.
We
when he
just
was a kid.
wrecked out in the woods, Oh, absolutely. It was.
So I know
got
this
that.
is really crass, but this is so 12-year-old boys when they're sitting around in the junkyard and they're talking about certain pieces of anatomy on the girls on the Mickey Mouse show.
Mickey Mouse Club.
Like I'm watching that and I'm thinking that is so 12-year-old boy.
Yeah.
It's just that if you grew up
You nailed
in that.
Yeah.
I mean, and I played a lot of sports as a kid, so I was around the locker room talk.
Yeah.
That was definitely a thing, especially when girls started to mature into womanhood. Young
Boys
notice,
Notice, yeah.
and they talk about it that way.
Well, and also this was when I don't know when, but when they invent TV?
Well, TV was around
Well, it was-
here in 1959 in
Okay.
its infancy.
So I mean, I feel like they're seeing something that they maybe don't see in their town, like they're seeing a girl with a sweater on. That's what they talk about.
Yeah.
And maybe they don't see stuff like this in town because everybody just dresses. It's a small town. Everybody dresses.
Was it Vern say, "Oh, I think the A and the E are getting farther apart." It's just-
Yeah, there are definitely conversations had in this group that I totally identify with in terms of we had those same discussions.
And-
Whether they be good or bad, it's just all about coming of age.
Yeah.
How quick did the conversations change? The gear shift of the conversation. They're throwing rocks in a can.
Yeah.
That's like the
Or they're
greatest-
spitting water.
Water.
Yeah. All of a sudden, they just start spitting water, and then what?
Another thing you notice about this group, everything could instantly be turned into a game or a conversation.
Yeah.
Which happens a lot when you're a kid, like
All the time.
and you're trying to make up your own fun. Like everything could become a wrestling match or a race or
Who could shame the other one's mother quicker?
oh yeah,
better?
there's a lot
Better.
of mother insults,
jokes, yeah.
your mama type stuff.
Yes.
Well, see, I thought it was funny that they of course, these are all 12-year-old boys. They forget about food. They don't think about it. They're going on like a day and a half journey, and they don't even think about
Yeah,
food.
they don't. And what was it? Vern said, "I brought the comb."
Yeah, the
Yeah.
comb.
He's like, "Well, you don't even have hair, you idiot."
Well, I got it
brought
for you.
guys.
Yeah, the lack of planning / forethought. That's definitely a kid thing.
Yeah.
You're not thinking that far ahead.
Then it goes back to the snapshot of the era. Let's see how much money we got.
Oh yeah, they had like $2
$2
and 30-some cents and change.
$2.30 when 1959 was a lot of money.
So that general store scene where he goes there and he buys the provision.
Dude,
Yeah.
that's so reminding.
There was a store just like that, not too far from my house growing up, Green's Grocery, and I can remember going in there and buying Yoo-Hoos, and they had penny candy. They had like a bucket of penny candy, and now it was like Tootsie Rolls and
Yeah.
Blow Pops and stuff like that. But that old-timey store feel, I remember the cash register. They had the old-fashioned cash register in there with like the pull.
Yeah.
The bell.
What'd you think about the? I just thought it was funny. Back then, they didn't think about germs or anything. He's just
literally-
handling that raw meat.
Yeah, the ham, boom.
He'd reach over and get another plop of it and throw it down.
Yeah.
Boom. All right, there's $1.50 worth of hamburger. And he wrapped it in the paper. I mean, he's
He's probably so nasty.
touching
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah, once you
Now
cook
you
it, it's
think of
fine.
that, and
Even then, though, you see that scene where the storekeeper is asking Gordy questions about
His
His
brother.
brother.
He's like, you're
your brother.
you're,
You play
so-and-so's
you play
brother,
football and all that, and he's still living in the shadow of his brother. He can't really come out of that identity.
yeah, he's like, I seen how far your brother could throw. He could
Yeah.
throw it a mile or something like that. And
Well, and we all know this. We all from small towns. It's a lot of these towns. It's a big deal. Football is a big deal.
Oh, yeah.
in these small towns. And so this was his brother could have been the star quarterback or whatever he was of the town.
or
And
basketball would have been your vehicle. Huh?
Oh yeah.
so it's just like football is a big thing. So it was probably over the whole town. It was probably a major loss for them that they lost the star quarterback or whatever.
Because everything that was going on was revolving some kind of sport.
Yeah, yeah.
So you also see within the group that Gordy and Chris kind of have a stronger bond,
Yeah.
almost like a brotherly type bond, where
Yeah.
maybe Chris is a little bit older than Gordy, and he's always reassuring him and putting his arm around him, hugging him, and
Well, and Gordy takes up for Chris because there's that little flashback, or no, it's not a flashback. Gordy is trying to get his water canteen, his canteen,
yeah.
from his brother's room, and his dad said, "Why are you hanging out with them? They're a bunch of thieves." And and he's
The
like,
story about the milk money that got
yeah, and
stolen.
he's like, he takes up for Chris. He's like, Chris is not a thief, and yeah. So yeah, I definitely see that brotherly thing going on there.
So the train scene,
Yeah.
that's a classic scene in the movie. And it's so funny. The scene begins where they say, what would happen if a train came? Oh, we could just jump. It's like 100 feet down. But that's such a kid thing too, because you have that thought if you're around train tracks as a kid. What am I going to do if a train comes?
Well,
And I can remember doing that as a kid, like trying to walk along the
Yeah.
tracks and balance on the,
Yeah.
throw a penny down.
and always thinking in the back of my head, like, okay, if I hear a train coming, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
And how you could tell Gordy's the smart one of the group. He's the only one that reached down to see if he could feel the vibrations of the train.
Yeah.
So who would have thought of doing that? I mean,
Nobody. I mean,
Maybe his brother taught him how to do that.
probably.
Yeah.
We'll see. And I did. We didn't even. I'll just mention it now. I want to say maybe it was in the first scene, but this is where we see Teddy. He wants to test the train. He wants to see if he can dodge.
Oh, do a
train.
train dodge
yeah.
the first time the train comes.
And
That happens in the very first part of their adventure.
yeah, and they're telling him, get off the tracks, get off the tracks.
Yeah.
He's like, no, I can do it. And he starts like trying to shoot, pretend to shoot it and stuff. And he's like, I got this. And like Chris is yelling at him, and eventually Chris runs.
Trying to emulate his father.
Runs and grabs him and pulls him off the track, and they get in a fight right there. And this is kind of where we see that you can definitely tell that Teddy is like tortured, especially like by his dad and everything. And I think they later on said, like in the final scene when they're kind of telling where everybody goes after that, he tries to like enlist, and
He gets rejected.
And his eyes and his ears get
Yeah.
rejected. I thought one thing about that scene too. I thought it was brilliant the way he filmed it. Because once he gets him off the track, they start trying to fight. But the noise of the train going by,
Yeah.
and you can't hear what's going on, but you can just see it through the blips of the train going by.
Yeah, because it's.
I thought that was pretty cool. Because you didn't want to make it. You didn't want to make it like it was a crack in the group.
Right.
Like immediately, you hear the term "walk it off."
Right.
Nobody says that anymore.
No.
You getting up mad or upset or getting a fight.
How does that make you feel?
Yeah,
Well, I mean,
go walk it off.
We all do this. We've always done this with our friends. We all get in arguments with our friends, but we get over it quickly. No big deal. I mean, this is just what?
Get over it.
Get over it, Doug. Get over it.
Walk it off.
So going back to they start running, and the only part that I noticed, but it didn't bother me, was you could tell they were like on
A green screen at the one point.
like when they jump off the tracks.
Yeah.
And
I mean, that was kind of hard to hide back then. But
Yeah.
I was just thinking, like when they jumped, how they landed, like when they showed them when the dust cleared, that had to hurt. It looks like they might have landed on rocks and stuff like that from jumping that far.
12-year-old boys, dude.
Yeah, I guess I would break a hip now. And
Everybody, but that scene, here's what's so relatable about that scene is that if when you're growing up and you're outside playing and stuff like that, everybody remembers that one time when you had a really close brush with death or getting hurt bad, and somehow you came out unscathed.
Yeah.
That's like a rite of passage.
yeah,
Rope swing breaks or just something. You fall out of a tree.
jumping off the porches and you're fine.
So
Good idea at the time.
Yeah,
when I watched that scene, I was thinking back as a kid. We had a creek below our house, and there was an old tree that had a trunk that had fallen over the creek, and so it made a natural bridge.
okay.
And it was like our thing of reenacting Indiana Jones or whatever, that you did the balance beam walk across the log to get to the other side of the creek, and we fell off that thing so many times. But it makes you think about those play scenes in your life where danger was an essential part of the play,
Yeah.
and now they try and protect kids.
Yeah.
Put them in a bubble and don't let them do dangerous things. And
You learn to navigate that
yeah,
stuff.
like getting hurt and danger is part of it. And we don't need to coddle kids and try to totally protect them from that stuff.
Well, this Derek, going back to what you were talking about of Chris and Gordy trying to be, kind of like brothers. This is where we see pretty much Gordy says he's like I don't think I want to do the writing thing anymore, and that's because of what his dad says.
Right. Yeah.
He's like, why, pretty much why do you want to be a writer? But his mom tried to encourage him, and then then the dad says, don't encourage him like that, or whatever. So, but Chris tries to, he's like, no, you need to keep writing, keep going. If that's your dream, go for your dream.
Don't he tell the mom to quit coddling him?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he remembers back his older brother encourage him about his stories and stuff.
Yeah, and he gave him.
Yeah, there's that little flashback at the dinner table. Yeah.
And then they go to his brother's room, and that's where he gives him that Yankees cap. Mm-hmm. I thought it was a very sweet scene.
They never got the cap back.
You know, when I first saw it, I was like, "Oh, well, they get it," but I thought they got it back later, but he never did.
The one thing is at the beginning there when they show Richard Dreyfuss in his car just for 2 seconds, I wish they would have seen his cap would have been sitting there in the seat. I thought that
That would have been a good tie-in.
Yeah.
got it back. You guys want to move on to
let's
scene
go.
3? All right. Scene 3. That night, Gordy tells the guys a story about a pie-eating contest where lard-ass Hogan gets revenge. They talk all night, and Gordy dreams of his brother's funeral. The next morning, they decide to cut through the woods.
So this is that scene I was talking about where people say it's fat phobic.
Well,
Blueberry.
out of anything of this movie, this is what I remember about
Yeah.
this movie.
Yeah.
So I do love the fact that he's literally it's a very unique story that he's come up with.
So it's very much like, do you know in A Christmas Story where Ralphie has those daydreams about him shooting the bad guys with the BB gun?
Yeah.
This is very much like that in that it's cartoonish, over the top, ridiculous.
Yeah.
And you could see how, in the kid mind, this is being hammed up. Mm-hmm. And
Well, that's what even Rob Reiner was talking about. He wanted to make it like a fever dream, or he's imagining all this, and
And it shows
and they ask for a
creativity of
story,
the
so they're
kid.
sitting there on the campfire, and all the boys are like,
On the
"Gordy,
spot.
tell us a story."
yeah,
And what's
And
Burns
they're
say?
just
Don't-
enthralled by this.
Yeah.
And the vomiting part of it is the
man.
disgusting factor
I
of it. that-
remember
So he eats an egg,
and
then
castor oil.
drinks a quart of castor oil.
What is that?
You don't remember castor oil?
Castor oil was like an old timey,
It's like cooking.
one time
I don't know.
or one size fits all kind of medicine that they would give you for whatever was ailing you.
What kind of
okay. It's
stomach
one of those
ache
things.
or
Yeah.
most of the time it would make you sick.
Yeah.
Like if you ate something you weren't supposed to, drink this, you'll throw up.
Oh, okay.
You know.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess my parents never used any of that. I don't know.
I don't think I've ever had a dose of castor oil, to be honest with you. That was sort of an old remedy.
That's back when Mirachrome, you remember that red stuff they put on scrapes? That would burn so bad.
Burn the daylights out of you.
It's like burning on an extra layer of skin.
So he eats an egg, he drinks a whole gallon of that stuff, but then you got all these people you can definitely, to me, this is definitely a story, but also I feel like this could really happen. These town people are just a-holes to this kid. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't think he says how old he is, but man, they're just so mean to him. Like adults are mean to this kid.
Yeah.
And so this is where we have the pie eating contest, and he gets revenge.
He planned it out, yeah. To
And
eat.
I wish I would have wrote it down, but I don't remember how many pies he went through. He went through,
It's 5 or 6 of them.
yeah, and it was all over his
Joey
face.
Chestnut.
Just
Oh. That was so nasty when he pukes and the other guy and his mouth's open.
Every good kid movie has got to have a gross out factor.
yeah.
Part in it. Goonies definitely had that.
Oh, and Chunk was talking about pouring it over the balcony.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I thought it was a very good story. But then I find it funny when he's done with it, Teddy is like, well, what else happened? And he's like, what do you mean what else happened? That was the end of the story.
Yeah.
He's like, no, man. It should be like he goes back to his house.
Just like the reviews we just read.
Yeah.
There's no resolution. That's the end of the movie.
Goes back to his house. He grabs a gun. He just starts blowing everybody away.
Goes Rambo. Yeah. And what's Vern say? Did he have to pay to get into the contest?
Yes.
Where did that come
No,
from?
Vern.
They just let him in.
It just let
Okay,
him in.
good story, man. I mean, gross out factor to a 12-year-old was definitely a thing.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, if you never chased anybody with a dog turd on a stick, you wasn't a kid back then.
So after the story, they decide to go to sleep, but then they start hearing coyotes. Is it coyotes or wolves or something
Yeah.
like that? And then so they decide to stand guard, like each one would take shifts and stuff with the gun.
With a gun. Yeah, a bunch of 12-year-olds with a 45 automatic in the woods. And my favorite scene was when when Vern had it, and every time a moth would make a noise, you'd see the gun.
Oh yeah,
Noise, cricket, something.
Yeah.
that's definitely if you ever went camping by yourself, every little breaking of a twig or rustling of a leaf.
Yeah.
What is that?
It's
Yeah.
magnified.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think the last one is Chris. He's watching, and he goes down to the fire just for a second because he starts hearing Gordy like making noise in his sleep. He's like moaning, and so I think that's where he has that dream of his brother's funeral.
And that's when he dreams of his dad saying, "It should be you in there."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, his dad is just so brutal to him.
Yeah. So the next morning, and this is where the big leech.
Oh yeah.
So they decide to, instead of taking the tracks, because I think they said it would take like another couple hours to reach the area on the tracks, so they decide to cut through the woods.
And they get in the
Big
water.
mistake.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they get in that water. They're like, oh, it's not deep. And they just stick a stick in. Yeah. Boom. They just dive right into it. And
Immediately they start messing with each other.
yeah, they just start dunking each other. And then, they're just playing around.
Yeah.
Well, eventually Gordy's like, come on, guys. We got to go. We got to go. So they start messing with him as they're trying to get out of the water. And Gordy sees something on Vern's neck.
A leech.
And he's like, you got something on your neck. You got something on your neck. No, I'm not going to believe you. I'm not going to believe you. No, you've got a leech. Leeches. And that's
Yeah.
when they start stripping down to their underwear, and they got leeches all over their backs, fronts, everywhere. And this is where Gordy, I always thought this scene was so gross. He finds one in his crotch there. And all he does is just pull up blood.
He gets with that was a big one too.
Yeah, it's huge.
So I can identify with that because I played a lot in the creek as a kid, and leeches were definitely a thing. The first time it happens, it's sheer panic and fear.
Yeah.
But as the more you play in the creek, the more it would happen, and
It's
you
like,
just rip it right off.
Yeah.
But those first couple of times, it's total fear.
Yeah, that was another major scene. I always remember this movie. Just like, oh, leeches.
And of course it's Vern. I've never met anybody that fainted before. Because he fainted, and what's Chris immediately defends him. He found a leech stuck to his sack, man. Give him a break.
I just realized the leeches scene's in the final scene, but it's all right. Let's just go ahead and do the final
was it?
scene. Yeah, I guess because I cut it right there where they
okay.
decide to go through the woods. Because I think it goes to like Ace's area and they start talking to more there, so I just cut it there. Okay, so final scene. Ace and his gang discover the location of the body and pursue it. The boys traverse a small pond, encountering leeches on their bodies. They find the body, but are confronted by Ace and Gordy, who draws a gun on them. They return to town and part ways.
So one scene that happens there that's pretty funny is the mailbox smashing scene.
Oh,
Where
Mailbox
and there's also the
baseball.
chicken scene where they show them against that logging truck, and they're racing
that's
down
right.
the road.
Yeah.
So the movie kind of cuts back and forth between the two gangs,
Yeah.
the kids and the older Cobras, and they're drinking and doing homemade tattoos and playing chicken and
scarring. They're doing that
Yeah.
scarring. Ooh.
Well, like the young boys, we never said how they found out about the body
Oh, yeah.
because Vern lost
hiding
it.
under the porch.
Yeah, he's trying to find a quart of pennies that he buried, and his mom burned his map, so he's been digging all summer to find it. And
See all the holes underneath the port.
and he overhears his brother and them talking about they found the body.
Yeah.
Well, they're members of that gang.
Yeah, because they stole, what is it? They stole a car, and
They were trying to get rid of it, and then they come across the body in that area.
yeah.
So then they say they're never going to mention it to anybody.
They're so stupid.
But then they turn around and they end up telling Ace, and what did he say? It was a phenomenal feat for them to hold on to the secret for 36 hours
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
not tell anybody.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
and that's how they catch up to them because, of course, they're driving and the boys have been walking this whole time.
They could probably get there in 30 minutes or
Yeah.
whatever.
But if you watch that scene or the scenes of the older group, the teens, it's like not one of them is likable.
No.
They're all absolute jerks.
Well, I mean, especially Ace. He definitely does not care. Like he's literally willing to kill himself
Yeah.
because the
And all the guys are
driving towards the
fodder.
truck.
They're just tools for him to use.
yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk about that final scene because the boys get there first and they
Vern's
see
the
the
one that
body
notices it.
kind of from a distance.
Yeah.
And then they come up on it, and of course there's the reveal where they pull back the bushes and they
Yeah,
show
that
the.
scene freaked me
And
out
then
so
the
bad.
older boys show up, and that's where you have the showdown.
Yeah. And that's
Pulls
when
the knife, and then
pulls the knife, and then
gun.
Gordy pulls the gun.
Yeah.
And he's like, "You are not taking him."
yeah,
Because they were getting to before the gang showed up. They were Chris told the guys, "Hey, go find some sticks. Let's try to make a what do you call it?
a gurney.
A gurney.
Gurney.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
were going to
Take him
carry
back.
out.
They were going to bring the boy back.
Yeah,
Can you imagine trying to take a body?
No.
As
Carry
as
a
long
dead
as
body
they
back
yeah.
as
long as they walked.
Yeah.
They didn't plan all that.
No. So we have that little standoff. I mean, like literally, Ace, he's about to cut Chris's throat right there.
Yeah, he's like, no problem, and he goes
then
right to him.
Then Gordy shoots the gun and scares him.
But he has one of the greatest lines of the movie. You cheap dime store hood.
Yeah,
That's one of the greatest lines right
that's
there.
another era piece right there. Dime store hood.
So pretty much, Ace is like, he's like, all right, we're gonna go, but we're not gonna forget this.
Yeah.
We are not gonna forget this.
Don't think we're gonna forget about it.
Yeah. So they wind up leaving, and the boys decide to leave the body, but they cover him up.
They tried to. They decided an anonymous tip.
Yeah.
Would be best.
Yeah. And so they're heading back, and they don't even stop. They just walk all the way back to town overnight. And they said they don't even talk because after seeing that body, they don't even talk whatsoever.
And it was like Derrick was trying to say, that was a very coming of age moment for all four of them. And then they get back to the town, and they said, and all of a sudden, at the beginning of the movie, the town was their whole universe.
Yeah.
But now
The town seems
seems
smaller.
smaller, and
So you think about all that they've done in that 48 hours. They've taken a long journey without parental help or supervision.
Yep.
They've
Gone through a lot of different
faced,
emotions.
They've faced death
yeah,
with the train. They stood up to their bullies, and their innocence was lost when they saw the dead body.
dead body.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's definitely a loss of innocence type thing. And I like how the movie spent a couple minutes with a kind of like a PS where he goes through what happens to the different boys.
Yeah.
It doesn't show you, but he tells you through his writing,
That
or narration.
That reminds me. It reminds me of Sandlot,
Right.
because at
Yep.
the end of Sandlot, they tell they tell what happens to each boy. Like some moved away, or we've never talked to them again, or whatever. And so
He makes a great line there where he says something to the effect of that some friends come in and out of your life only for a season. I can't remember the exact quote.
Yeah.
But that's such a truism about your life. You can think back when you were 12, 13, some of the kids you ran with, maybe they grew up in your neighborhood or you played on the same ball team. You were
thought
friends
you'd be
by
with them.
necessity, by default, because they were the nearby kid.
You thought they'd be in your life forever.
Yeah, and then life happens and you lose touch with them. It's
true.
But you don't forget that one magical
yeah.
summer you had together or whatever, and it sticks with you.
well, see, because they go, what is it? Vern, I think he winds up like he winds up marrying. Having
He got
kids.
married right out of high school, had 4 kids.
And then he's like He works at the.
He's a forklift operator.
That's what. Yeah, that's right. Teddy. He tries to enlist. They deny him because of his ear and his eyes.
And by then, Vietnam would have been going on.
Yeah.
If you think about it.
Yeah.
And he ends up just being a handyman in the town.
Yeah, and then
does odd jobs.
Him and Chris are the only ones that really stayed friends while they were still in town.
Yeah.
And then eventually they split ways once they moved away and stuff. Because I think Chris became like a lawyer, didn't he?
Yeah,
that's what they said.
Gordy inspired him to
take the hard classes.
And he said he'd struggle through it because that's just what he did, and he actually become an attorney.
Yeah, and then that's when we find out that 20 years later, Chris. He was in like a restaurant or something, and he's
fast food. I think is what they said.
He walked in to grab something,
gas station, something like that.
And he tried breaking up a fight, and then somebody winds up pulling a knife
and died immediately.
Yeah, that kind of hit me there. That was pretty sad. And then this is where we show pretty much right at the end of the movie. We show Richard Dreyfuss as an adult, and this is where they show him actually writing his story on this old computer.
Oh yeah, old Apple IIe or something.
Yeah. And it turns out he's got kids now, and he looks like he might be a successful author now because he's in a really nice house,
neighborhood. Yeah,
and his kids
are you ready to go? He's got kids that age.
Yeah. And so pretty much this is where the movie ends. You guys got anything else for the final scene? Because it pretty much ends like after that.
Yeah.
So
that's it.
All right. All right. Let's move on to our category of
Did not know that.
After director Rob Reiner screened the movie for Stephen King, he noticed that King was visibly shaking and wasn't speaking. He left the room and upon his return told Reiner that the movie was the best adaptation of his work that he had ever seen.
Wow.
High praise.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Let's move on to our it's not a new category of staff picks.
Say hello to my little friend. Let's not play baseball.
What we've got here is failure to communicate.
Pizza. Dinner thing. Chicago.
Illinois Nazis. I hate Illinois Nazis.
All right. Derrick, let's start with you. What's your favorite number one quote?
So I sort of referenced it a minute ago, but I looked it up to get the full quote, but it's this. It happens sometimes. Friends come in and out of your life like bus boys in a restaurant. And that happens at the end of the movie when he's telling the PS about where everybody went in their life.
Yeah, that's a great quote.
I also really, really like the first line of the movie. I think it's very gripping. The first time I saw a dead human being was 12, 13 years old. He says something to that effect.
Yeah.
That's a great line, and it really sets the table for the rest of the movie. But ultimately, I think this one at the end about friends coming in and out of your life is my favorite.
That's a great quote. Doug, what about your favorite quote or number one quote?
Actually, thinking about my favorite was probably the last one of the movie when he says, I haven't seen Chris for 10 years, but I'll miss him forever.
Mm-hmm. That's when he's typing on the computer.
Yeah. He's finishing the story. I thought that was pretty powerful little quote there.
Yeah. So, Derrick, I'm actually going to agree with you about the friends come and go, friends come out of your life. That's I have to agree with. That's probably my favorite quote right there. It's a very emotional quote, and yeah,
And sad at the same time.
yeah. I
We
mean,
talked about how-
unfortunately, I've gone through that. I've lost friends in the past that I just lost track of. I mean, I don't know anybody from high school anymore because they all moved away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Everybody lives that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a universal experience, right?
We
there.
said Teddy and Vernon started out slowly, and then all of a sudden they just become another face in the hall.
yeah, because literally, he said him and Chris were the only ones that stayed true friends or to get friends together. So, let's see. So, Doug, what about best scene for you? I feel like there's so many good ones.
That's a hard one.
Yeah.
Probably, I'd say the best scene for me was like when they were in the junkyard. Mm-hmm. From just the way they related to each other brought back the most for me from my childhood.
Yeah.
Throwing the rocks in the cans, goofing off, and then just that whole section of the movie is probably my favorite.
Derrick, what about you? What about best scene for you?
I think for me, the one scene that sticks out the most is the train scene.
Yeah.
It's just so unforgettable.
It's great.
And
The fear on their eyes
Yeah.
when they're running.
yeah,
Gordy was Vern was ready to just die.
Well, and it would be hard running on that train because the gaps are like good like that at least.
Yeah.
So you're literally like
He's crawling, of course.
So I want to say the best scene for me is probably because we didn't even discuss it, is when they were still in the woods and they were doing the lookout, and it was it was the scene where Chris and Chris was admitting that he did steal the money, and he was like, did anybody ever think that I was trying to give the money back? And Gordy didn't know he was trying to give
he didn't know the whole story.
Yeah, he didn't know the whole story. Everybody just thinks he's a thief automatically, and he was like, I was trying to give the story. He's like, I want to move away from this town. I want to be somewhere where nobody knows me, because that's what everybody sees him as, a big old thief.
Yeah.
And I thought it was a very like emotional scene because he starts crying, and like it's I think it's a very good scene. Doug, what about favorite character for you?
Yeah. I guess the one I'd say Vern.
Vern.
Vern's one of my favorite characters.
Yeah.
There's a piece of each one of them we all could relate to.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But Vern was definitely, he brought that little comedy. He was just an idiot.
Mm-hmm.
Derrick, what about favorite character for you?
I really enjoyed Corey Feldman's character. He's just, he's kind of the oddball of the group, I guess you might say. He's always looking for attention and kind of the cut up. So I really thought that was a standout role for him, for Corey Feldman's.
Yeah. Well, and I think I was reading like an interview with him, and he said of all the movies he's ever done, that was the closest to himself.
Yeah, just be himself.
Because like that, I think he felt like that was him when he was super young, just a kind of a troubled kid, everything he'd gone through and everything. So he said that was the closest character that he ever played. That was truly him.
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually gonna say Chris. I really enjoyed Chris because he was like, I was gonna say Joaquin Phoenix, River Phoenix. He's such an amazing actor. It sucks that we lost him so soon, but I think he did the best job in this movie. He was trying to protect Gordy, and
he's almost like an older brother.
Yeah,
he takes that role that he lost.
Yeah, definitely. And he actually stands up to Ace. He stands up to Ace twice in the movie. But
First time didn't go as good.
No. All right. Hey everyone, if you're enjoying this podcast, please make sure to follow us on your preferred podcast apps such as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and we're also available on YouTube. We really appreciate if you could leave us a review, give us a 5-star rating if you're enjoying the podcast. I think so far we've got 37. I think this will be 37 episodes out so far.
Booyah.
So Yeah, I'm kind of shocked. I can't believe we've been doing it for this
Thank
long.
you to the 4 people that listen.
Hey, we got quite a few. We got 31 listeners on YouTube
surpassed.
alone. So
Tens of people.
yeah, tens of people. If you particularly enjoy an episode, feel free to share it with a friend. All right, let's close this out. All right, Doug, let's start with you. Do you want to give your score and your final thoughts on the movie?
My score, this movie definitely hit all the buttons. Definitely brought back changed the 2 cars in it and put like an old Trans Am or a Nova, and this was my childhood. Every bit of it.
Yeah.
Trying to emulate your parents, or you catch them flipping a butt out. Oh, half a cigarette, you go over and try to smoke it. I mean, that's just,
Yeah.
you thought it was cool to try to be the Marlboro Man or just whatever. You were trying to find out who you were, your identity. So I definitely it's up there for me. I'm gonna give this. It brought back a lot of memories of my childhood. So I'm definitely got the nostalgia factor of it. So I'm gonna say a 4.5.
4.5. All right, Derrick, score and final thoughts.
So I like this movie. I don't love this movie.
Yeah.
I totally understand why people think this is one of the greatest movies of all time. Like I can understand where you're coming from. It hits the nostalgia buttons. It's got so many classic universal themes: friendship, grief, coming of age, loss of innocence, adventure. It's got so many good things going for it. The only criticism that I have against this movie that took me out of it several times was the amount of profanity that the kids have. And I know that makes me sound old-fashioned, but when I was 12, I didn't talk like that. Yeah. And I had friends that did cuss a lot, but I felt like the cussing in the movie was overboard to the point that it really did take me out of it. Like, I know you can watch it and get desensitized to it, but to me, I felt like that. I thought, am I watching Goodfellas? Like, the number of F-bombs that they drop, and I just felt like that was not really representative of 12-year-olds. I may not know.
Every 12-year-old.
Because I know you said you hadn't seen it in a long time. Did it shock
you? It did shock me, the amount of profanity that the kids were throwing around. And maybe kids are completely different today. I know you put a set of Xbox headphones on them and they start playing Fallout or Call of Duty or whatever, Fortnite, and they're going to be potty mouths. But that, to me, was the only criticism that I have of the movie. And it took me out of it because I was like, well, gosh, man.
This was definitely maybe one of the first times I remember watching it completely unedited.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'd seen the TV edits this whole time, so I guess I never really paid attention to how much they took a lot of that out.
I think if you were 12 watching this movie, it would be a movie that you weren't age appropriate for. Like, you're not ready at 12, 13 years old to watch this movie
at all. When I was watching this, I was honestly, I was already watching, a bunch of rated R movies. My parents tried to mute the TV as much as they could when we were watching the movies, but I was already like, it was the gross out scenes and stuff that kind of shocked me. But I get it. I get.
But back to what I was saying, like, I have respect for people who highly regard this movie. Like, I get all of that. It just me approaching it, I don't have the nostalgia factor, so maybe it doesn't hit as high as it does for Doug. There was one more thing I was going to say about it, and that is that, man, I lost my thought. Dadgummit, Doug, you made me forget it. It's your fault. Oh, here's what it was. Rewatchability.
Yeah.
I can say I've seen this movie, and I think once is enough for me. I don't have the desire to go back and rewatch this over and over and over again. I think there are kid-type movies that do that better. Like, I want to go back and rewatch Goonies.
Yeah.
I want to go back and rewatch Sandlot over again. Even they're more lighthearted.
Yeah.
They're more fun, and they have that rewatchability. I don't think this movie has that rewatchability factor.
Right.
And for that reason, and the profanity, I don't give it as high a mark. But I totally understand why people love it.
Yeah.
And there's way more to love about the movie than there is to take away from it.
Yeah.
So I don't give it as high as Doug. I give it a 4 out of 5.
Okay.
Which I think is kind of right there along the lines of the tomato meter and all that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my summary of the movie.
Yeah. So this was one of the movies that I'd seen several times when I was a kid. But it'd been a long time since I've watched it. I mean, 10, 15 years for me, probably at least. So it'd been a long time since I've seen it. This last time I watched it, the whole body scene does not affect me now.
Yeah.
But I just remember that affected me so much. It scared me. And I just 1 second going back to what you were talking about, the funeral. When I was a kid, funerals, of course, scared the crap out of me. I could not see the body at the funeral. Now they still bother me. I can walk up to the open casket because I've been to several, especially recently. But it doesn't bother me as bad. It still like unnerves me, I guess you could say. So
Sure.
But I've always enjoyed this movie, so it was a nice refresher to see this movie again, and I'm gonna give it a 4. I personally think it is rewatchable, but am I gonna watch it again this year? No. Am I gonna watch it next year? Probably not. I'll probably watch it maybe in another 5 years or something if it comes up.
I hope somebody breaks wind at my funeral. Just like lightens it up, a little bit. Yeah.
Well, Doug, I'm gonna go ahead and say I don't think it'll be somebody else. I don't think it'll be somebody else breaking wind. I think it'll be you.
How do you know I don't have something done? I might have something put in the casket.
One last one.
Everybody's walking by and you hear.
I'm gonna give you one last laugh.
One last pass. So
Leo the fart is gonna pass gas one more time.
Last action hero. All right, so I'm gonna give it a 4. I think it's a good movie. I do think it's probably it's probably like top 10 Stephen King good stories. I'm not saying it's not even top 5 for me, but it's definitely a top 10, I'd say. So we pretty much gave it a combined score of 4.16. So
Yeah,
that's a good.
That's right there with the rest of the world.
Yeah. So all right, you guys got anything else? Let's wrap it up.
So I would say if you haven't seen this movie, don't watch it with your kids if
Nope.
you've got kids, but definitely see it.
Yeah.
And it's worth seeing. But to me, it's not worth multiple rewatches.
No.
Yeah.
But it's definitely one that you got to experience on your own because it is a classic, and so many people do regard it. But I'm kind of torn. I really want to like it more.
Yeah.
But there's just some things that kind of keep it held back for me.
Would you say, because I was thinking this when you said watch it, would you say watch a TV edit of it? Like, because it tones down the language of it. I mean, because I know.
I think you need to see it the way the director intended for you to see it.
Well, and it's one of those, like Derrick says, I may never see it again.
Yeah.
Unless it pops up on.
Yeah.
But because of like the nostalgia of it, just the friendship, having and like you say, like the same thing with the Goonies and the bicycles. It's the same kind of adventure.
Yeah. Or E.T.
Yeah.
But like the profanity thing is very subjective. Like that affects people differently. And if that doesn't bother you, then it's not going to affect your enjoyment of the movie at all. But
like I said, I didn't even.
So I don't think TV edit is I don't think.
Yeah.
I don't even know where you. Well, I had trouble even finding it to watch. So like I checked every single streaming service, and I ended up having to go to Amazon.
Yeah.
To rent it.
I had to rent
I bought it off Amazon, like Blu-ray for $8. Like
Yeah, so if you
couldn't let
rewatch,
us
if you're
borrow
out
the
there and
DVD.
you want to watch this movie, you're either going to have to get the DVD or you're
You owe
going to
me
have to
$4.
probably rent it. From Amazon Prime.
Let me say this, and then we'll close it out. The one thing we did not mention is the song at the end, the "Stand by Me" song.
Yeah, which kind of had a revival.
They played it right at the end there.
Yeah.
As they're they're
Well,
walking away.
they played the acoustic. Didn't you not hear the piano playing? That was "Stand by Me" at the very beginning.
Was it?
Yeah, the entrance to it. You remember it?
I didn't even notice it. 'Cause
It was like softly playing, and I heard it. I was like, "Oh, okay."
Well,
and then
it's
they played it at the end.
because like the scene where he saves his computer and turns it off and runs out to his kids. That's when they start playing the song, and I literally just sat there and watched the credits listening to that song. I mean, I love that song anyways.
Yeah,
I was just like,
I think they said the song came out. It was 25, 26 years old or something like that at the time the movie was released, and it had such an effect as a revival of the song that it hit number 1.
Nice.
Again in 1986, or was on the charts somehow.
Yeah. Well, it probably did. It come out.
Power, Love, and Back to the Future.
Did it come out like in 1959, like in the 50s, like the "Stand by Me" song?
Yeah.
So that's
Was
a
it? Was
I don't know. We'll have to look it up.
yeah,
But
that's appropriate for the time
yeah,
period of the movie.
piece.
yeah.
So, but that I thought that was very. I just sat there and was listening
It
to
might
the song.
even be
watching the
older than
credits.
that. Might have been.
Maybe. All right, that's all for today's episode, folks. We hope you enjoyed our trip to find a body on the 1986 Stand By Me. Join us next time on Video Rental as we tackle another classic movie. Until then, stay cinematic and remember, friends come in and out of your life like busboys in a restaurant.